What's going on, guys? It's Zach here, bringing you guys another fantasy football video. So I'm going to be going over the Thursday night football game between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. I'll be going position by position and sort of just telling you guys which guys I think you guys should be starting, sort of giving you guys just a bit of an overview in terms of what you should expect on this game. Should be a fun one. Should be a game that honestly this series between the Lions and the Packers, these two games that they play, will probably end up being what decides the division in this division here. We saw that the Packers lost to the Lions last season, effectively ending their season in Green Bay last season. So it should be a fun matchup. Lots of fantasy relevant players on both sides, and it should be a pretty good Thursday night football game. So super excited for it. As always, if you guys have any specific questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. I love helping you guys out. Friendly reminder as well, if you have anybody in these games, feel free to move, or make sure that you do move them out of your flex in your starting lineups. Make sure that you have that flexibility for players that might get ruled out or whatever happens later down the line. So it's one of the best tips to use. Make sure you don't lock up a flex spot on a Thursday night game, and then put yourself in a spot where you have a running back that gets declared out later on, and then all you have is wide receivers on your bench. So really important to do that, and just make sure that you're doing everything you can to give yourself that edge you need in your fantasy matchups. So yeah, with that, let's just get into the quarterback matchups here. So for the quarterbacks, we'll start off with Jordan Love here. Jordan Love has actually been really solid so far this season, and I really do think he's a streaming option if you need him. The Lions defense is a very true pass funnel here. They've got an elite run defense so far. They've held several elite running backs down so far in fantasy, keeping Kenneth Walker to 43 yards. Bijan Robinson just had a down game against him. So this Packers team is going to have to throw the ball if they want to move the ball downfield, and I think they can do that against this subpar Lions secondary. On top of that, Christian Watson will be back in action for the Green Bay Packers here. It should elevate Jordan Love as well, along with Aaron Jones being active as well. It just gives him two more good pass catchers to throw the ball to. So you can use Jordan Love. He's probably just outside the top 10 for me this week, but certainly a guy that you can stream if you need to, and you could certainly do a lot worse there. Outside of Jordan Love, there's obviously Jared Goff on the other side for the Detroit Lions. He's another decent streaming option. We do see that historically Jared Goff is not nearly as good on the road as he is at home. He's just much better playing in a dome. Weather seems to affect him quite a bit, and there's some reason to be concerned there, although I do think this is still a decent matchup for him. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown should perform very well. Jaire Alexander is looking to be a game-time decision in this game, and that means that the secondary for Green Bay probably won't be at full strength either. So I really do think you can play Jared Goff and Jordan Love, but they're both like fringe streaming options. Neither one of them is like a must-start for you guys. Next up, we've got the running backs here, and I'll start us off with Aaron Jones. He's a must start for you guys if he does suit up in this one. I do fully expect him to play, and if he plays, he's probably going to be at full strength, so he's a guy that you've got to play. Even though this Lions defense is really good against the run, Aaron Jones is way too involved as a pass catcher. He'd be a guy that you do need to get into your starting lineups. If Aaron Jones does play, then obviously you do need to sit all the other running backs in this lineup. AJ Dillon's just been absolutely awful so far. He's not someone that I want to play by any means, and especially if Aaron Jones is active, you obviously can't play him. But even if he sits, I don't think I really want to be playing AJ Dillon anyway. Outside of the Packers, we've got the Lions. They've got Jahmyr Gibbs, who's obviously just been a little bit underwhelming so far. And it's at this point, it's pretty clear that he's probably just not going to be given that workhorse role that we really hoped for when we drafted him in the late second, early third round in some of our fantasy drafts. But he's still going to be really solid for fantasy. He's going to catch 5 passes every week, get around 10 carries, and be someone that's going to be super efficient with the touches he's given. So he's going to be a must start for us in every matchup. This Packers defense is not fantastic against running backs anyway, and Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a guy that should have a good week again. So you got to play Jahmyr Gibbs, and I do think better days are ahead for him. Outside of that, David Montgomery should suit up in this one. It sounds like even though he's listed as questionable right now, I do expect him to start Thursday night, and that means that he's going to be given 20 touches and a goal line role and what's a really good offense and a pretty high over-under game. So Montgomery's going to be a must start for me. I bet he falls in the end zone again. He's just way too involved in a good offense to be somebody that I want to leave in my benches. So Montgomery's a guy that you definitely have to start against what's so far been a pretty mediocre Packers run defense. Next up, we've got the wide receivers. For the Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be a must-start every single week. I know he's dealing with that turf toe injury, but it didn't stop him from getting over 100 yards last week. Jaire Alexander, like I mentioned earlier, is questionable for this one, so the Packers secondary is not at full strength. Even if he plays, I wouldn't expect him to be 100%. So Amon-Ra St. Brown's a guy that you've got to get in your lineups. Josh Reynolds is a guy that you could play as a flex in deeper leagues. I know he had that down week last week after a lot of people probably picked him up off waivers to use in their flex spot, but his role didn't really change. He's still the clear number 2 wide receiver in this offense until Jameson Williams is back, and the over-under is high enough in this game that you could certainly do worse than Josh Reynolds, although he's by no means someone that I'm excited about playing, so I'm probably looking elsewhere if I can. For the Packers, Romeo Doubs being my wide receiver 1 here. He's just been a decent option in the flex so far this season. He's super involved in the offense. He seems to be the number 1 target overall, really, and he's certainly involved near the goal line. So with the Lions being such a pass funnel on defense, Romeo Doubs would be a guy that I do want to get into my starting lineup as like a low-end flex option. Christian Watson would be another flex option for me. I know it's his first week playing this season, so there's certainly some concern there, but he's too explosive of a player against what's a pretty mediocre Lions defense. So Christian Watson would be someone that I do want to get in my starting lineup if I can. And then Jayden Reed, I know he hasn't been super explosive so far, but he's getting a lot of targets near the line of scrimmage. He looks pretty good so far, so in deeper formats, you could certainly play him in PPR leagues as a flex option. Next up, we've got the tight ends. For starting this off with Sam Laporta here, I do think Laporta at this point is going to be a must-start for you guys. He's been good, really good so far. He's the first tight end in NFL history with 5 or more catches in each of his first 3 starts against the matchup in the Packers, who are by no means a scary matchup for tight ends. Laporta absolutely needs to be in your lineups as someone who's just super critical to this Lions offense. I'd expect him to end up with probably 5 for 50 in this one, have a chance to score. And at the tight end position, that is certainly something you're looking to start. For the Packers, Luke Musgrave is actually a pretty good start for me as well. The Lions allow the most fantasy points per game to the opposing tight ends at this point so far through the season. Musgrave's been utilized all over the field. He's had plenty of deep shots that just haven't quite connected for him, but he's going to have a blow-up week at some point this season. The Lions are certainly a defense that could allow that to happen, so I think Laporta could potentially get loose in this one. He is someone that I'd be more than willing to start as a top 12 option this week. So that'll do it for the Thursday Night Primer. I hope you guys found all the information here useful. If there's anybody that I didn't talk about for whatever reason, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm happy to give you guys my opinions on those. Any specific start-sit questions relating to this game, I'm happy to help you guys through those, so let me know in the comments as well. Up next on Saturday morning, you guys will be getting my Starts of the Week video where I'll go over every single game, over every single matchup throughout the course of this weekend, and tell you guys which players I should be starting and sitting, and guys that you should really be looking to get in your lineups and just sort of potentially fade to do some worse matchups. So hopefully you guys find all these videos useful. If you want to make sure you get access to all of them, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're just over 850 subscribers right now, and I'd love to hit 1,000 by the end of the NFL season. So do what you can to help me out. That'd be super appreciated, and I just really love seeing the community grow. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, check out these other videos here if you haven't. If you want more content, please feel free to follow me on Twitter at RealSteelFFB. I'll be more active on there as the season goes on. Thanks. Catch you later.